Welcome to this edition of the Crowdfunding Tank. And we're so excited today. We have Lloyd Rosen with us today, and he is already an accomplished author, and he's on a mission. He's on a mission to help people that are suffering from depression and suicide. And he's got a vision and a dream where he wants to help people with this affliction. And today we've got him on the show, and he's going to tell us and talk to you about what he's gone through up to this point and what he's going to do to help people. So, Lloyd, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Tracy. How are you today?
I am doing outstanding. I appreciate your time to be on the Crowdfunding Tank, and we're real excited about what you got going on. So go ahead and tell the audience and give them a little introduction of what your plan is and what your mission is.
Well, let me start out this way. I suffered with depression for 36 years from the age of about 13 until I got the help that I really needed to get healthy at 49. At that time, I was asked by a human resources director what issues I had because she saw on one particular day at work that I was not the same person as I've always been. She called me into her office. I said I didn't want to bother her with my personal issues. And she said, okay, well, that's fine. I understand that. But my job is to make sure that you are taken care of. And so you can sit here until you're ready to talk to me about it because you're not going anywhere. Neither am I. And I said, okay, fine. I'll put my feet up here on your desk and we'll order some lunch in because we're not going anywhere because I'm not going to tell you about it. And finally, after about 10 minutes or so, I decided, you know what? I don't want to sleep here and I don't want to stay here. So I started telling her about it. She was able to get me in touch with a therapist. That therapist, within 1 hour, told me that I was suffering from depression, ADD, and panic attacks.
Wow.
And he put me in touch with a psychiatrist who, within a month and a half, had me on some antidepressants, and I have been going strong ever since. Now, I will tell you that I am one of 18.8 million people who are above the age of 18. That does not include the children in this world. That's 18.8 million 18 and above adults who are suffering with depression. That equates to 9.5% of our population just here in the United States. It does not include Europe, Asia, and the other continents that we know exists on this planet. But I will tell you also that even though that's a staggering figure as far as 18 and above is concerned, children who are under the age of 18 are the #1 market for antidepressants in this nation. That means that our kids are suffering just as much as our adults are. So it goes totally around the whole area of age. It doesn't have any specific age restrictions. So,
wow, that's some incredible figures there. And you said that, did you mention how many times you attempted to take your own life?
No, actually, I had my first attempt, believe it or not, was I think back when I was 17 years old. I was in a hotel in Washington, D.C. and was planning on jumping off the balcony of a room when I realized that just the thought of falling was going to probably kill me and I'd be dead before I hit the ground, so I didn't do that. But then the next time I did contemplate it seriously was in 2001. I was living in Florida, and I was very depressed. It was Christmas time. I was dealing with major depression, and a lot of people at Christmas time, I know they do suffer with depression. Mine, unfortunately, was not due to the holiday season. Mine was due to a lot of other issues, and so I was going to drive my car off of a bridge crossing from Orange Park, Florida, into southern Jacksonville, Florida. Fortunately for me, I had a visitor that evening at the moment that I was going to do that, and he told me he wasn't ready for me to come home yet. He told me that he had other plans for me. So I turned the car away from the wall, drove home, finally told my wife about it because my wife didn't even know what I was dealing with.
Wow.
But I had full-blown depression. I didn't care if I ate, didn't care if I went anywhere, sat on the couch. It was just a continuous thing. Now, I finally, when that happened in 2001, I got the help through an organization that my wife's employment had. I was able to deal with it for about 5 more years. Then in 2006 was when I got the help from my HR director and really got full-blown help. And I was great for probably the next 5 years, when in 2011, I was living in Washington State and I had a job. But my wife, who was living in Texas at the time, decided that she wanted a divorce. Then I lost the job that I had. So I had 2 catastrophes within a 6-week period. And so I decided this time, it was a Sunday morning. It was 10:30 in the morning in May of 2011. It was a beautiful day. And I took a walk from where I was staying to the river that was running through downtown. And I decided I was going to jump from a walking bridge. So I sat there looking at the bridge, looking at my decision, pondering climbing the bridge, when all of a sudden, this 70-plus-year-old man comes over to me and says, "Excuse me, sir, I need to ask you a question." I said, "What's that?" And he said, "I want to get from this side of the railroad tracks to downtown because there was a railroad trestle separating the river from downtown." I said, "I'm sorry, I've only been here 6 months. 6 weeks, I'm sorry, 6 weeks, and I just couldn't tell you how to get over on the other side." He said, "Well, what are you doing here so early on a Sunday morning?" And I'm kind of an honest guy. I don't hesitate telling anybody the truth. It's up to them whether they can handle it or not.
Right.
I told him, I said, "I'm here to kill myself. I'm here to commit suicide." And he looked at me, and he started talking to me about how many times God helped him through his life. So I started talking to him, and he was telling me that he was from the town originally. He had come back for a memorial service for his brother who had passed away. And I said, "Well, that's great, blah, blah, blah." And he took me for lunch after spending 2 hours on that riverbank, paid for my lunch. He went one way, I went the other way, and I've never seen him since.
Oh.
But while I was talking to him, I realized that I was actually standing in the presence of an archangel who had been sent by God again to save my life, because I obviously wasn't getting the message that I was not supposed to go anywhere, that he had other plans for me. So,
wow, that's an incredible story. So how does what you're doing help the people that might be watching this video or might be interested in helping you? What is it that you're doing a little different to help those people?
Well, when I finally got healthy, as I said, in 2006, and I realized what it physically and mentally felt like to think healthy, to think clearly, and to be in touch with my own feelings, I decided that nobody, absolutely no one, would ever suffer for as long as I did. Now, a lot of people say to me, 36 years, that's a long time. Yeah, that is a long time. But that's like eternity when you have to live it. And I don't want anybody living it the way I had to. So I want to speak out, help people, make people understand that there is help out there, and they do not have to suffer or think that there's no way out for them.
The expenses of producing your next book, can you speak just a little bit about that?
Correct. As I said earlier, I had 2 different occasions that God appeared before me and saved my life so I could be here today speaking to you. But more importantly, I look back on my life, and there was actually 10 to 12 different occasions that he was in my life speaking to me, telling me, if you just listen to me, you'll have a great life. No, I was one of those kids who was the son of the devil. I had to do everything that I could do to find trouble and then try and figure out how to get out of it. And so after I've written one book, which was out in '08, I decided to sit down and write this book, which is going to be coming out about how many times God actually was there to help me. And I'd like to just say that if you can relate to that, I would say stop and listen to him, because he isn't talking just to hear himself talk. He's talking to help you and save you a lot of headache. So that's the second book, and it's going to be called Don't Make Me Come Down There.
So to wrap this up, what do you have to say to our audience?
Well, I would just like to say that I, having been a survivor of 2 attempts at suicide and 36 years of living with depression, that it is a whole lot healthier and a lot nicer living on this side of the formula. And I would have hoped that after people like Robin Williams and other famous people like Junior Seau and other people like Mr. Foster, the former attorney for Bill Clinton, who killed himself, that people would have more opportunity at education and more opportunity at support for what they're going through. Unfortunately, I don't think in almost the 2 years that Robin Williams has been gone now that that's happened. And that's what I want to step forward and do. I'm a common person. I'm not a Mike Wallace. I'm not a Robin Williams. I'm not any of those famous people who have millions and millions of dollars in the bank. But I'm willing to use the money that I raise to get that message out there, because I am one who doesn't want to pick up the paper every day and read about this 15-year-old boy who hung himself in the closet after coming home from school, or the guy who jumped off the bridge in the local town or whatever. So I'm putting forth my effort to do my part in this world.
Well, that's a very noble cause, and it's an honor and a privilege to have you on the show today. And to our audience, if you find it in your heart to donate, to be a part of a big picture item, we encourage you to participate, and we want to thank you in advance. So that's it for this edition of Crowdfunding Tank. This is T. Allen Haynes. We'll see you the next time.